Hey, everybody, it's Allie, and we have lost a legend. Kristoff St. John, known to us YNR fans as Neil Winters, has passed away on February 3rd, 2019, at the age of 52. It is difficult to know how to talk about this because I did not know Kristoff St. John. I never met him. I had no contact with him whatsoever. I only know him as the incredibly talented actor who has touched the lives of Young and the Restless viewers worldwide for over 25 years. Neil Winters has been in my life for over 25 years, and for many of you, he has been in your life that long as well. It is so sad today, on Friday, February 8th, 2019, the date of this recording. For 25 years, we shared in Neil's joy and his pain. And today, I think YNR fans are collectively sharing in the pain of his loss. Neil was an absolute staple of the show. I mean, he was always there. And there was just something about Neil that was so cool. When I think of Neil Winters, I think of this cool, smooth guy. I think of his interest in jazz music. I think about just the way he held himself, the way he added some level of credibility to the Young and the Restless, as in, this is a guy who we could know. A regular guy, liked to play basketball, liked to listen to music. And I don't think it would be out of place to say that he was also very sexy and very romantic. He had swag. I was very interested in Neil's love story with Drusilla. And now they met and fell in love 2 years before I started watching the show in 1993. So they were already an established couple. They had already been through quite a lot by the time that I came along. And so I think I connected more in with the storyline when Neil's brother, Malcolm, was cast onto the show, and there was the triangle between Malcolm and Drusilla and Neil. But I still felt very connected to Neil's romance with Drusilla. I think fondly of their second wedding, the Japanese wedding that they had. I think because that would have been my first viewing of their wedding. I'm sure many of you remember their very first wedding, but I wasn't around for that. I got to experience Neil and Drew more on the mid and latter end of the relationship. I got to experience Neil as the family man. Neil loved his children. He loved his daughter Lily, even far and long after finding out that she was not his biological daughter. He loved his adopted son, Devon, even though he was not receptive to the idea of adoption at first. But he came to love Devon as his own. He had another son, Moses, later in life, who we haven't seen a whole lot of, but I'm sure we will in the future. And as a fan of the business storylines on the show, I really quite enjoyed Neil's ascension through the ranks of the power players of Genoa City, first working with the main companies of Gibault and Newman, and then later starting his own company in Hamilton Winters, wanting to, after many years of watching the crazy drama of these family businesses, he wanted to start his own family business and do it right. Even in the last couple of years, as we haven't had Neil on screen as much, he just always came in to the scenes with this coolness about him. There was a comfort about him, and he will just be so sorely missed from the Y&R landscape. I am going to miss Neil. Again, I don't know Kristoff St. John, but I am sure that there are so many people who did know him, that connected with him. And by all accounts, everyone says he was just a lovely guy. And to have him be taken so suddenly and tragically, it's just such a loss. And there's this underlying feeling that I have now that Kristoff was in pain. And I was aware that he was troubled. His son had taken his own life in 2014, not even that long ago, and I cannot conceive of that pain. I do also know that he was seeking psychiatric treatment in 2017 after there was a reported incident with a gun, and that there seemed to possibly be some concern that he might harm himself. And the initial cause of death at the time of this recording, for what I know right now when I'm recording this, it seemed like there was a police report that originally had suggested that Kristoff had possibly experienced alcohol poisoning. A few days later, the cause of death was deferred pending those toxicology reports. So at this time, I don't think we have a definitive cause of death. And either way, I think it's best that we remember Kristoff and remember his portrayal of Neil in a positive way, because Neil himself had struggled with alcoholism. Neil himself had been through a lot. But Neil, the character, much like I would imagine Kristoff, the actor, had persevered. I don't feel that I would want Neil's legacy or Kristoff's legacy to be left on a negative note. I think that we all should try to focus on what he has given us and the happy memories that we have of the character. And maybe you're a fan who has met Kristoff. I think that's what we should focus on. I know that Kristoff has other children. He has a daughter. He was recently engaged, so I can only assume that there were some very strong moments of joy, and that's life. That is life. We all will experience intense pain, and we all will experience intense joy, and in that way, I don't think that Kristoff is separate or different from any of us. But I will admit that I had some expectation when his final scene aired on Wednesday, February 6th. I expected, I think, to be able to see something in his eyes, something saying that maybe this man is in pain, that maybe I could see somehow that I was looking at an actor or a person who had reached the end of his journey. And I know that's a complete projection on my part, and I'm only being honest. I think because I'm a fan of Neil's and I'm a fan of the show, I think I wanted to sort of have this transcendent connection that I would just know, that I could look in his eyes and I could just know. But I didn't get that. I really didn't. On Wednesday, my eyes welled up with tears the moment that I saw Kristoff's title card in the opening credits. But then Neil enters the scene of Devon's party for the final scenes. And I mean, right off the bat, I just felt that he looked happy and relaxed. I expected to see something there that I didn't. I thought that he looked his same sweet and sincere and gorgeous self. He was in his suit. He looked good. And I think that speaks maybe a little bit to how depression works. How pain works, how hiding one's pain is just part of the pain. But more importantly, I think that also speaks to Kristoff's talent and his professionalism, that I couldn't see a hint of anything other than Neil Winters. It's so hard to talk about because it's hard to not cross the lines of Neil's character with Kristoff, the actor. They're two totally separate people. And as fans of YNR, we have to take a leap of assuming that these people are real in order to really get into the show. But we know they're not. You have to have sort of a cognitive dissonance, and sometimes the lines of that can get really blurry, and I have to try really hard to not mix them. I just feel this feeling of disbelief. That was my first instinct. Someone had left a comment about Kristoff that I saw come through, and I didn't believe it at first. I immediately went to Google and typed in his name, expecting it to just be nothing, and then there were all of these news reports of his death. I just couldn't believe it. It just doesn't feel real, and I can only imagine what the people around him who actually knew him, how they feel. YNR ran a memorial placard, like a title card at the very end of his final episode on Wednesday. I just can't believe that's the last time we're going to see any new scenes with him. YNR put together a clip show on the Friday episode, that's today, that's what I just finished watching, that had a feature interview with Kristoff. It was almost as if he was talking to the fans. He was talking about his tenure on the show and how happy he was to have been a part of it. And he seemed also to express his love for the fans. And I think that's what our takeaway needs to be. We can look back at all the flashbacks that were also included in that clip, and we can think about all of our memories of the character, and we can feel mourning and loss for the actor. But I do think that maybe the takeaway we should keep with us is that he felt grateful to have been a part of our lives, and we feel grateful to have had him. Y&R apparently is planning to feature a storyline that pays tribute to Kristoff and to his character of Neil beginning in late April. That's breaking news as of today that Y&R has said they are planning on doing a storyline to pay tributes. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Will we be saying goodbye to Neil's character? That's my interpretation, that perhaps there will be some kind of funeral or memorial service for him. I will look forward to seeing exactly how Y&R presents that to us. And in the meantime, I did set up a dedicated thread, a post at our website at yrchat.com. If you would like to go to the website, leave your condolences, your favorite memories of Neil, your reactions to learning the news, anything that you have to add, I would love to hear it. And there's a whole community of people who would also like to hear it. We're allowed to mourn. We didn't know him, but we're allowed to mourn, I think. So please feel free to use that space to talk about, anything you'd like. And I'll be there chatting with you and continuing to talk about the things that I'm feeling on the topic. I hope that in no way anything that I've said it can be interpreted as offensive to the family or the fans in any way. I just thought that it begged a special Y&R chat to talk about this and to just get out my feelings about what had happened too. So I hope that you do go to the website, get your feelings out, and we'll just continue to monitor how Y&R handles this, and we will carry on. We should carry on with positive memories of Neil and of Kristoff, and feel grateful for what he has contributed to our lives, and maybe in a small way what we contributed to his. So I would like to end this Y&R chat by just observing a moment of silence. I'm going to be here for the next minute. I hope that you join me. And I love you guys. We love Kristoff. We love Neil. Let's just observe 1 minute of silence as we remember him and send that love out to him and to his family.